What does chefs like me cook when people will come over for dinner? No chef I know is messing around with gels, foams, intricate chocolate work or whatever just to impress their partner's work colleagues. I mean, we probably didn't even want them over in the first place because we are dicks when we are tired after a week's work. Sorry, I misspoke. We're just dicks. But when we do cook, we know when it comes down to it, the only thing that's going to speak to your soul and the only thing you're going to remember is how it tastes. What can you learn from where chefs focus their efforts, and what can you learn from the age-old wisdoms we completely ignore? So look, chefs are busy people working long hours, and I'm going to want to cook something easy, simple, and delicious. And as much as possible, let the equipment or the oven do the work. Just like how in golf, as my dad used to tell me, you want to let the club do the work. And in this video, we're going to make a tarte tatin, and a tarte tatin is exactly the kind of dish I'm going to want to make when my friends come over. A dessert that started off life as a mistake, allegedly, absentmindedly made by the Tatin sisters in France. They were trying to make an apple pie and apparently accidentally made it upside down because they were negligent. And here's a picture of them outside their hotel after they created this dessert and everyone was traveling to come and see it. This is how a classic becomes a classic. Now, to make the best tatin you have ever had in your life, guaranteed, we are going to ignore an age-old wisdom and a kitchen dogma. Life is too short to make your own pastry? Now, I've no idea who said that originally, but they were then and they are now increasingly wrong. In fact, the exact opposite of true. If you were to spend your last day doing anything on earth, don't have sex, go make your own homemade pastry. My wife is nodding her head enthusiastically. Make of that what you will, women are hard to understand. But a tarte tatin isn't. Now, it is easy to get wrong and you do have to be brave with how long you cook it for, but it is so simple when you understand the dish. And the best tatins are taken to the edge of deliciousness by almost burning it. So the recipe and the instructions are in the description below. So the pastry. Now, if you've never made it before, it doesn't matter. This is also the first time that I've made it, which is slightly embarrassing given how long I've been cooking for, but it is easy and forgiving. And this is how you're going to do it. You put everything in a mixer, you mix it, you take it out, you let it rest, roll it out, fold in the butter, roll it, fold it, fridge, roll it, fold it, fridge, roll it, fold it, fridge. That's 27 layers, and now it's ready to roll out and put on top of our tarte tatin. That's it. Now the filling is stupidly easy. All you need is to put butter in the bottom of a pan, sugar in the bottom of a pan, peel, cut some apples, core them, and put those in the pan, and then you put on the pastry that you've just made. Take the pastry out of the fridge that's ready to go at 27 layers, roll it out, cut it into a rough circle, so big enough that you can cover all of the apples in the pan. Now tuck it down between the edge of the pan and the apples, and you can use something blunt or your fingers just to press that down, and then gently fold back the lip of the pastry back on itself so you have about an inch that goes around the outside, and just gently press that around as well. And then that's ready to go. Now your oven's at 165 degrees. You're just going to open the door, put it in there and leave it. Don't touch it, don't open it, don't look at it for 4 hours. Now that's a really long time at a high temperature, but in that time alchemy happens. And here it is, a deeply caramelized, rich, complex and crispy tarte tatin. Now we've done next to no work here. We've just put everything in a pan and put it in the oven. We haven't faffed around on the stove stirring it to make a caramel, which would take a lot of our time and wouldn't add to the dish. You're already making a caramel before the apples have even cooked. But to get the apples to cook like this, where they're golden almost all the way through, because they've had a long time in the oven with the caramel, and it's just, the flavor is just outrageous. And this is so easy. I cannot stress that enough. Now I've been lucky enough to eat some of the most R&D desserts in the world, and I have to say, this tatin is really hard to beat. In terms of the mouthful, when you have that pastry with that really caramelized apple, and the complexity of it, all that flavor that you've just produced, well, I mean, you've not, you just put it in the oven for 4 hours and let it do its thing, but that flavor is outrageous. And a mouthful of any other dessert in the world that I've had, I don't think beats it. Now those desserts are objectively better. They've got a lot more going on, there's a lot more flavor, and it changes depending on which part of it you eat. I can't imagine a better mouthful than this. Now I think this dessert is so good that I'd be willing to bet if you took 1,000 people and you gave them this tatin, or you gave them a dessert from a top restaurant that's got a lot more elements and takes a lot more work, that the tatin would win. Now, I haven't tested that, that's just what I think, but I think when you try this, you'll understand just how good this dessert is. Now, you can do this with store-bought pastry. I just cannot recommend it at all. Like, you know, it saves you even more work, and you know, it would take you 5 minutes to put this dessert together, but it's not the same. Like the richness and the depth and the texture that you get from homemade is unlike any other thing that you can buy from the supermarket. It's just not the same. It should be, but it comes nowhere close. Now, should you eat this on your last day on earth and you have a pang of regret that it wasn't that good and actually you wish you'd had sex, well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.